Welcome to the Rockabye Revenue Podcast with me, Abby Watson. I'm a mum of 4 and a business strategist, and I train people to become hypnobirthing teachers. In the last decade, I've built a thriving baby business that grew beyond my wildest dreams. This podcast is for you if you run a business or dream of running a business in the birth and baby industry. You want to change lives whilst making more money. I'm talking about creating sustainable income whilst being present for the people that matter most. I believe for our baby businesses to have the impact we desire, we must be rewarded. On this podcast, expect me to share actionable strategies without the jargon. I've been where you are. I've built a business while raising 4 little ones, and now I'm here to help you turn your passion into profit while creating the life you've always dreamed of. So let's get started. Oh, lovely one. I'm talking about competitors today. I'm talking about other people perhaps working in a similar space to you, a similar location to you, that are offering the same thing as you, your competition, and whether actually you should be friends with them. Should you avoid them? Should you pretend they don't exist? Or actually, should you befriend them? So, let's face it, many of us, when we start our businesses, we do look at other services that are going to be similar to what we're offering. Of course we do. We want to know what's already out there. And we might look at those other businesses through our lens of being a beginner, thinking, oh my gosh, they have got it all sorted. I'm never going to be as good as them. And sometimes that not competition, but that comparison kicks in big time. And it can bring up so many yucky feelings. Now, I have been there many times. When I started my hypnobirthing business, and this was a long time ago, this was over 10 years ago, I was very new to business. I'd never run a business before. And of course, I did look at who was offering services, hypnobirthing services close to me. And I was quite happy that there wasn't many other people really close by offering what I did. And it made me feel like, oh, I'm going to have, a bit of a monopoly here. I'm going to be able to offer services in this area and everyone is going to have to come to me. So that's fabulous. Now, actually, the reality was that when I started, most of my clients came from an area that had other hypnobirthing teachers. And I was having to travel to these clients. And the reason was, local to me, where there was no hypnobirthing teachers, there also wasn't much awareness of hypnobirthing. So my clients were actually coming from all the places where people already knew about hypnobirthing because their friends, family members, colleagues were doing hypnobirthing with the other teachers. So it was definitely a bit of a learning experience that kind of taught me that having no competition isn't necessarily great. What comes with having no competition is often not many people in your area that really value your service because they just don't know about it. And actually, as time went on, I did bang the drum for hypnobirthing in my local area, and I got more clients local to me. Way, that was fab. Local awareness of what I was offering had grown. And then, of course, more hypnobirthing teachers popped popped up locally. And I remember the feeling of seeing these brand new websites, these brand new social media pages, and thinking, oh my gosh, like they're just 5 minutes down the road. And feeling, although my business was doing well, feeling pretty doomed and like, oh my gosh, the good times are over. I'm now going to be sharing the pool of clients with somebody else. And that's going to mean that I don't have, many clients coming to me, and going really into that scarcity place and that place of like, oh my gosh, like this is doomed. And again, the reality was not that way at all. In actual fact, more hypnobirthing teachers, again, meant more awareness. The awareness of what we were offering just grew because there was more people shouting about it. There was more people talking about it. When, there's a hypnobirthing course on every street corner, it makes it more normalised. It makes it more of a regular thing to spend more money on in pregnancy. That's good for all service providers in that industry. Now, I know you might be listening to this as a different business owner. You might not teach hypnobirthing, but the same thing applies. Whether you teach baby massage, whether you run pregnancy yoga classes. I know that feeling of, oh my gosh, someone's cropped up, fresh and new, offering the same thing as me. My business is going to suffer. I know that can hit us from time to time. Now, going back to my story of seeing these competitors pop up, I remember the day that I received a message, and the message was like, oh, hi, Abby, I've seen what you do. You look like you offer amazing services. I've also started up as a hypnobirthing teacher, not too far from you. Would you fancy going for coffee? And you can imagine what I thought. I was thinking, should I or shouldn't I? Like, is it a bad business thing to do to meet up with your competitors? Like, is she trying to steal my ideas? Is she trying to pick my brains and get free mentoring? Like, is it a bad move? Like, is this going to put my business at risk? Or actually, is it a really good thing to do? Now, the human side of me, the heart, wanted to say yes, yes, yes. I'd love to meet someone who is also as passionate about birth as me. I'd actually love to talk about things that go on in this industry that maybe only someone in the industry gets. Yeah, she seems a really nice person. Of course, I'd love to meet her for coffee. But of course, my brain was like, oh, but what if? What if? And Abby, like, isn't this just like revealing how bad you are at business that you would meet with the competition? Does Aldi meet with Tesco? I don't think they do. So you can see what was going on through my mind. And then I thought to myself, let me now get a grip. It's meeting for coffee. It's having a chat with another business owner. Like, she's not there. Like, I'm not coming with my diary of clients and leaving it open on the table for her to, like, start ringing people up. Of course not. And that's not why she's wanting to meet at all. So we did meet up, and we actually realised we had a lot of things in common beyond hypnobirthing. We had mutual friends, and yeah, we had lots to chat about, and it was lovely. And you know what? As much as, we got a lot of personal things out of that conversation, it was also good for business. In my hypnobirthing business, I loved running group courses. And at that stage in my business, I was actually running 2 group courses a month, one on a Saturday morning and one on a Tuesday evening, different venues. She was very focused on doing one-on-one courses. At the end of the day, if she got someone who really, really wanted a group course and was not willing to have a one-on-one instead, she sent them my way, and vice versa. Shortly after that, I went on maternity leave, and I wasn't taking clients for a few months. Who did I send them to? Her, of course, because I'd built this relationship with her. And I trusted that she'd give them a really great service because we'd connected, So ultimately, making friends with the competition actually became pretty good for business. Now, I am not saying to you, as you listen to this podcast today, make it your priority today to arrange coffees with all your competitors. This is a really personal decision, and there's definitely no right or wrong. However, if you have feelings of the competition almost feeling like the enemy when they're really not, actually meeting for coffee, actually just a few kind messages might help you feel less icky about this whole thing that really doesn't need to feel icky. One of the reasons we make it feel more icky than it really is sometimes because we come from a place of feeling like, oh my gosh, there's only a few potential clients and, we're all like scramming for them, when the reality is in your area, there will be a lot of potential clients. If you work with expectant parents, pregnant families, no doubt every single month there are over 100, possibly many, many more times as many as that every single month, because just look at your local primary schools that every year are filling with kids. Once those kids were bumps, they were pregnant bellies, and that will be happening right now too. Same goes if you teach pregnancy massage, you work with new parents. There will be a lot of new parents. We are not scrambling for the same 5 parents. There are many out there. Just look how many hairdressing salons there are, and how many of those salon owners may be friends with one another. They're not enemies. They don't feel like they have to, fight for the same pool of clients. Yet realistically, there's a certain amount of people available for that service. But of course, there's more than enough to go around. Now, I get that these feelings can come up of like, oh, if we meet for coffee, we'll naturally talk about business, and no doubt, like, I'll share some of my ideas. And what if they steal my ideas? What if I suggest something I'm about to do in my business and they get in there first? Well, lovely one, I'm not saying you need to go and share every idea with this person. But in actual fact, if you share with them that you're going to do a taster event and they do a taster event, you still get to do your taster event. And again, there's not this tiny pool of people that are available for it. There are more than enough to go around. Now, sometimes when we've built a personal connection with people, and we've become more than just a Facebook profile or a website, actually these people are probably less likely to blatantly, reuse your ideas, because now they feel this connection to you as a human being. So in a way, you might even be safeguarding yourself from it. But anyway, as someone who has been in business a long time, I tell you what, people will borrow your ideas, but you've got more ideas. And just because somebody's done a similar thing to you doesn't mean you're not allowed to do it still. And you were the original one. You were the person that had the idea in the first place. So you've got more of them where that one came from. So it's totally okay. Totally okay. Now, whether or not you decide to befriend your competitors, the thing that I want you to hear from this is that maybe even calling them competitors is not the right word. Someone that's offering the same service as you. So let's take, two antenatal educators. Are they competition, or actually someone else or something else their competition? Two antenatal teachers, both passionate about empowering parents to have better births, feeling prepared, knowing their options. They're both, saying the same thing. They're both cheering for the same cause. Maybe actually their competition is people that say, there's no point preparing for birth. There's no point preparing for birth. You've just got to go with the flow. You've just got to do what you're told. Maybe those people are actually the competition. If you're a baby massage instructor, maybe your actual competition is not other baby classes. It's actually things that are telling parents that that's a load of rubbish and it's a waste of your time, and actually you should just use your money to spend, in Starbucks, meeting your colleagues and having regular conversations that you had pre-kids. Sometimes we make these things very much about competition, but actually, really, we're not. Often when someone books your service, they're not on a website like Go Compare the Meerkat or whatever it's called, comparing all the services in the area. That currently doesn't exist. And I don't even think quite often they're doing that themselves. They're not making a spreadsheet of how much this class costs and what you get included. In actual fact, most people that book services in pregnancy or in new motherhood are booking based on feeling that the person that is delivering the thing has got the vibe for them, that they feel connected to that person. So in actual fact, they're probably not pitting you against the other person in your local area offering the same thing. They're just getting a feel for who you are. And, on this podcast, I've talked about this a lot, like showing who you are, telling stories that inspire action and allow people to get to know you, rather than feeling that you're only selling from a place of what features your course, your service offers. You become uncomparable. How do you even say that? Comparable? I don't know even if it's a word. Someone please tell me, is that a word? But you know what I mean? You're suddenly not... they're not able to compare you when it's about who you are and what vibe they get off you and whether they feel that you get them. Now, feeling that people are your competition can absolutely come with big feelings. And I mentioned this earlier. And you know what our minds are like. We're not always rational, are we? So even though I'm telling you today that no doubt these people are not even your competitors, yet you still might find yourself feeling a bit funny at times. It can be completely human to see their success and feel a bit like, I should be doing that. Why hasn't that happened to me? Do people like that person, that business more than me? That's our humanness, and it's not nice feeling that way, but it does happen. It does. So if you're making a decision of whether to be friends with your competitors, I would say do so with a kindness to yourself and catch yourself when you have those feelings, or if you have those feelings, I should say. If you do find yourself feeling like, oh my gosh, she's doing amazingly, I'm not, and it's not inspiring you, it's not showing you that it's possible for you too, be kind with yourself. And it's okay to be polite, but unfollow their accounts. I'm not saying, totally ghost them, but I'm saying it's okay to not have their account pop up on your regular little scroll on Instagram. You can be friends, you can be polite, you can be, colleagues, but not actively follow each other's business. That's absolutely fine. If that's triggering, if that actually brings up feelings for you that aren't useful to you, it's good for business to decide you're going to avoid those feelings. And that's not to say close yourself off from what other people are doing, but actually picking a time and a place to do that is really different from just having them pop up when you're least expecting it. Pop up when you're scrolling on your phone before you pick your child up from nursery. None of us want to have those big, icky feelings at times we didn't expect to have them. So it's okay to be savvy with that and choose what feels right for you. So I don't know what conclusion you will come to from this podcast episode. And I'm not here to tell you to absolutely go out and make friends with your competitors. I'm here to say that it's not wrong to do so. You're not a bad business person if actually you want to have positive relationships with your competitors. Actually, maybe some fabulous collaboration opportunities might come from it. Maybe actually you'll gain some amazing referrals from it. It might not be bad at all. And if you do decide, it's okay to then have boundaries around that. Yes, you might decide that you're going to have this really positive relationship with your fellow colleagues, but it's okay to have boundaries around what you will share with them and what you won't. It's okay to have boundaries around whether you're going to end up becoming this almost informal, free mentor to someone that's actually, working within your area. Boundaries are important, and boundaries protect your time and energy. And your time and energy is really important because it's that we're left with when we go into our lives, when we look after our families. And it's that we give to our clients. And our clients they don't expect. And our clients deserve the best of us. Not some panicked, scarcity-led business owner that's worrying about where our next client's coming from. As always, I would love to know what you have taken from this episode. I'd love to know if it's maybe made you think about the other people within your area offering similar services. Is it going to make you connect? Or actually, is it going to make you think about putting down firmer boundaries? I'd love to know. Come over to my Instagram at loveyourbirth_training and share with me your biggest takeaway from this episode. And as always, lovely one, keep on changing lives, and I shall see you for another episode next week. Take care. Bye. Thank you for listening to Rockabye Revenue. I hope this episode has left you with some fresh ideas and bundles of motivation. If you enjoyed this episode, do make sure you click subscribe so you never miss an installment. And if you found this episode useful, I'd love you forever if you leave a 5-star review, helping this podcast reach the ears of more of the helpers in this world. And remember, keep changing lives. See you next time.